Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to go over the news that the Furiosa spin-off film that has been rumored for a number of years now, ever since Mad Max Fury Road came out, is apparently moving forward with a 2021 release date set in mind. Now, there was a lot of controversy around this initially when the studio said they wanted to cast somebody else besides Charlize Theron in the role. They have cast that person, and they've also added on a few other cast members as well as a director, so we're going to go over all that. So the Furiosa spinoff will be directed by George Miller, which is a welcome sigh of relief for a lot of people. I know that he's still working on trying to get the next Mad Max film off the ground, the sequel to Fury Road. But right now we are also, apparently he has also found some time in his schedule where he's going to be able to do the Furiosa movie, which is good. Nobody can do Mad Max like George Miller because Mad Max is George Miller, basically. Those films are his baby. That is what he started with, which is why I generally enjoy a lot of his films, because I really enjoy Mad Max, and that's just the kind of stuff that he does a lot of the time, besides like Happy Feet. That was kind of a weird one. But regardless of that, I'm happy about the directing choice. I think that they had to get him to make this right, and I'm glad that they did get him. And now we go down to the cast. In the cast, we have, as a younger version of Furiosa, we have Anya TaylorJoy, who a lot of people would probably remember recently from the New Mutants, which was that Fox X-Men film that got delayed for 2 years and then got released, and everybody said it was shit. That's at least that's where her face has been plastered a lot of the time. But she's done other work. She was on Peaky Blinders in a reoccurring role. She was on a few other miniseries that were on that have been on recently. I mean, she's consistently working, which is really what you want to see with an actress that you're hiring for a project, especially a project where you're following up a very good performance by an older actress. Not to say that Charlize Theron is old, but she is older than Anya Taylor-Joy. So you have that, and then you also have Chris Hemsworth, who is coming on for this as well. Now that's the one that's a bit more up in the air for me, because I don't necessarily know what role they're going to use him in. I would assume that he would be probably, because of his background and stuff with the Thor films and all the Marvel stuff, and some of the stuff that he's been doing on Netflix and things like that. I would assume that he's probably going to be kind of a mentor character, something along those lines. The other option, which I think would may be more interesting, is if he's the villain of the story, because you're going to have a villain in this. I think some people were speculating he might be another version of Max, but I doubt that very much, because really Furiosa doesn't meet Max until Fury Road. So to have Mad Max in this film, I think, would be a mistake. It would fuck up the timeline, whatever timeline you have with those films, really. But I don't think you should have Max. I think you should keep Max out of this one, because Mad Max, the next one that they're going to do, is going to probably have Tom Hardy come back in that role. So I don't think they confuse people by casting Chris Hemsworth as like a younger version of Max for whatever reason. So I think he'll probably either be a mentor character, or he'll wind up being the antagonist. Now, as for the stuff that you could explore in the film, though, yeah, I mean, there's a few different things that you can obviously answer. What happened to Furiosa's arm? You can answer that. You can answer, how she became this big rig driver, and maybe she's smuggling and stuff like that. You can go into a lot of different things in the past with her that really were never explored in Fury Road. Because Fury Road, here's the thing about this movie, is that I don't dislike Fury Road. I think it's a good movie, objectively. And I think it's a good Mad Max movie too, objectively. It fits right into the Mad Max mold. It makes perfect sense. But Mel Gibson is still Max to me. Seeing Tom Hardy in that role felt off. Let's just put it that way, off. But that's my own personal gripe with the movie. It's not an objective one. Objectively, the movie is fine. I have no problem with the movie. The storytelling is good. The action is good. The aesthetics are invariably Mad Max. It was directed by George Miller, so I know that it's somewhat of a even though it's not actually Mel Gibson, it's not a continuation. in the sense of it's a direct sequel to like Thunderdome. It's still a Max story, and it still has him in it, which is why I like it. The only problem is that it's not Mel Gibson, which again, it's more of a personal thing. But going through Mad Max, Furiosa was definitely the standout character, and a lot of people really wanted to see a spinoff with her, which is why this was eventually greenlit. Now, the problem I think I have is that this is going to be coming out, assuming they hit that 2021 release date, which they may not, going on the best case scenario, that's going to be 6 years after Fury Road came out. That's a long period of time in between the spin-off film and your original movie. And that I think might be a problem, because the thing is that Mad Max Fury Road was kind of a blip on the radar. Like, a lot of people remember it, a lot of people like it, especially Max fans. Everybody, a lot of Max fans really love that film. But as far as the general public goes, even though the movie made a buttload of money, it's still not. We don't have a Max film every like 2 to 3 years. It's not something like in the late 70s and early 80s where we had the trilogy. It wasn't a Max film every few years, so he was kind of in popular culture to an extent. Now he's kind of faded into the background to a bit, other than coming out in that movie, obviously. So I think that you have a little bit of a gap. I think this movie probably should have come out maybe in because I think Mad Max Fury Road came out in 2015. I think this movie probably should have come out in 2017 or 2018 as opposed to 2021. And it should have been moved up on the slate to kind of capitalize on the success of Fury Road, but it could have also had something to do with George Miller's schedule. There could have been a lot of things to do with that. In addition to the fact they wanted to cast a younger actor or a younger actress to play Furiosa, so there was a lot of juggling going on with that production until we've come to this point. So I kind of get that. I don't think the movie will be bad by any stretch of the means. I don't think I've ever really watched a George Miller film I would think would be horribly crappy, except maybe Happy Feet. But I mean, that's kind of crappy just because I'm more used to his Mad Max stuff. But it's not a bad kids film. But going through that, though, you seeing the casting choices, having George Miller come back, having this set for the date that it's set for, I think that the film will probably do well. I like what they're doing so far. I'm very interested to see any kind of like screenshots, and whenever the first trailer winds up coming out after they've gone through production, the early stages of production, I'd like to see all those things before I make any kind of a judgment. But this is a good start. This is a good start to make a film like this, and I hope that if this film is successful, it leads into them getting the next Max film made, because that's really the one I'm more curious about is where do you take Max after Fury Road? But that's just me. I really want to know what you think, though. Do you agree with the casting choice of Anya Taylor-Joy for a young Furiosa? Are you excited for this movie? Are you not excited for this movie? Are you kind of iffy on Fury Road like I am? Do you love it? Are you glad that it's part of the Max series? And just anything that you feel about the franchise or this movie in particular, put in the comments below. As usual, I like to read your responses and your thoughts. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?